The distress signal had been faint at first, barely reaching the edges of known space, but it carried urgency, desperation, and a single word repeated across the transmission: help. Entire sectors held their breath. Generations had whispered tales of humanity as extinct, a species erased from the galaxy, their worlds consumed, their fleets destroyed. Yet the signal persisted. From the darkness beyond the system, sensors flickered as energy signatures appeared, first one, then dozens, then hundreds. Ships decloaked with an ominous, silent authority, angular dreadnoughts towering like monoliths, frigates weaving between them with lethal grace, bombers poised to strike at unimaginable speed. This was no ordinary fleet, this was humanity, forged in deathworlds, tempered by survival, and returning not as prey, but as predators. The alien observers who had discovered the call trembled. They had expected fragile remnants, whispers of a vanished race. Instead, they faced a precision-engineered armada, vessels bristling with weaponry, shields shimmering like liquid glass, engines pulsating with quiet power. The humans had learned, adapted, endured, and now, they had arrived. Commander Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship, his gaze calm, deliberate. Holographic displays shifted under his hands, calculations flowing faster than any AI could manage, predicting enemy vectors, energy flows, and attack patterns with uncanny accuracy. The fleet moved as an organism, each vessel responding independently, yet synchronized under a singular intent: survival, protection, and unrelenting defiance. The first exchange erupted silently. Alien energy volleys arced across the void, slicing toward Earth and the fleet's defensive perimeter. Shields flared, beams reflected, and drones swarmed like living organisms, dismantling torpedoes and intercepting plasma strikes mid-flight. Humanity did not react, they orchestrated, controlled, and executed. Every defensive maneuver was a prelude to the counterattack. Orbital stations stirred to life, releasing support vessels and partially completed dreadnoughts. Drones clung to hulls, welding, recalibrating, and activating energy cores mid-space. Even unfinished, these ships radiated authority, demonstrating that human ingenuity was inexhaustible. The aliens had assumed superiority. They had assumed extinction. Both assumptions were wrong. Across the system, ARC ships carrying civilians drifted safely behind the fleet, silent witnesses to the mastery above. Humans did not merely protect, they enforced inevitability. Every strike, every maneuver, every shielded formation spoke a single truth: survival was not a gift. It was intelligence, precision, and the unyielding will to endure. Stars glittered across hulls and energy arcs, reflecting on weapons and shields alike. The alien forces had been summoned to destroy humanity, but in their arrogance, they had forgotten one fact: humanity had survived the deadliest worlds, adapted to the harshest conditions, and would return not as a whisper, but as an unstoppable tide. The galaxy watched, uncertain, awed, and terrified. Humanity had come. And the universe would never forget. The human fleet advanced through the void with quiet inevitability, engines thrumming in unison like the heartbeat of the cosmos. Frigates and interceptors wove between massive dreadnoughts, threading through the debris of previous battles and drifting remnants of alien technology. Each movement was precise, deliberate, and calculated to perfection. Humanity did not merely react, they dictated the battlefield. Alien commanders scrambled to adjust, their formations faltering under pressure they could not anticipate. Plasma beams flared and collided with shields, explosions blossoming across the void like miniature supernovae. Every attack, every maneuver, every defensive measure by the aliens was met with anticipation and neutralization. Humanity had endured extinction, survived worlds designed to kill, and returned with lessons the galaxy could not comprehend. Commander Hale surveyed the tactical displays aboard the flagship, eyes calm and unwavering. Crew members moved as extensions of his mind, executing maneuvers that synchronized flawlessly with distant ships across the fleet. Intelligence, experience, and instinct flowed together, forming a network of human precision. This was not chaos, it was orchestration, a symphony of power and purpose. Bombers streaked through enemy lines, releasing torpedoes with perfect timing, while interceptors danced between beams of energy, disabling weapons and engines. Dreadnoughts unleashed concentrated volleys, tearing through alien shields with efficiency and elegance. Every strike, every sequence, reinforced one truth: humanity did not merely fight, they enforced inevitability. Orbital construction platforms activated, releasing partially built vessels and swarms of drones. Welding arcs glimmered across hulls, energy cores powered up mid-space. And even incomplete ships radiated authority. The aliens had expected a single species of prey. They encountered masters of survival, creators of the deadliest fleet in known space. Refugee arc ships floated safely behind the formation, silent witnesses to the unfolding mastery. Humans did not just defend, they orchestrated protection, transformed fear into clarity, and vulnerability into strength. Every vessel, every shield, every maneuver whispered the same undeniable truth: underestimating humanity was a fatal mistake. The stars reflected across shields and hulls, illuminating the fleet's relentless advance. The aliens had summoned humanity's extinction, but instead, they had invoked mastery, precision, and unbreakable will. Humanity had returned, and their presence reshaped the galaxy's understanding of power. The void itself seemed alive, bending to the rhythm of human intent. Every pulse of energy, every coordinated movement, every strike and counterstrike was a testament to intelligence, resilience, and moral resolve. The galaxy would remember this day, not as a battle won, but as a warning. Humanity's return was inevitable, unstoppable, and absolute. The alien formations wavered, faltering under the relentless precision of the human fleet. Every attempted maneuver, every desperate salvo, every evasive vector was anticipated and neutralized. Gravity distortions, decoy swarms, and energy pulses moved with uncanny foresight, bending the battlefield to human will. Ships that had once inspired fear now shuddered under the weight of calculations they could not comprehend, their ranks fracturing with alarming speed. Commander Hale observed the chaos with unshakable focus. Crew moved as extensions of his mind, instinct and training merging seamlessly. The fleet had become more than steel and energy. It was a living organism of strategy, intelligence, and unbreakable resolve, each vessel contributing to a singular, unstoppable purpose. Bombers surged through enemy lines, releasing torpedoes with pinpoint accuracy, while interceptors weaved through debris and plasma arcs, ensuring no enemy maneuver went untracked. Dreadnoughts unleashed synchronized volleys, tearing through shields, engines, and weapon arrays with flawless efficiency. Humanity did not strike recklessly, they enforced inevitability, shaping the battlefield with deliberate grace. Orbital stations released partially constructed dreadnoughts and support vessels. Drones clung to hulls, welding, calibrating, and activating energy cores in mid-space. Even incomplete ships radiated authority, reinforcing the fleet and demonstrating that human ingenuity was inexhaustible. The deadliest of Earth's Deathworlders had become masters of the void. Explosions flared across the battlefield, arcs of debris spiraling through the void like cosmic fireworks. Every strike, every maneuver, every shielded formation whispered the same truth: to challenge humanity was to court destruction. Alien dreadnoughts, once confident in their superiority, now struggled to react. Every escape, every counterattack, every desperate maneuver had been anticipated and neutralized. Refugee arc ships drifted safely behind the fleet, silent witnesses to mastery beyond comprehension. Humanity did not merely defend, they orchestrated survival. Vulnerability transformed into strength, fear into clarity, and chaos into order. Every strike, every maneuver, every shielded formation spoke one truth: humanity could not be resisted. Even in moments of pause, the fleet maintained vigilant control. Drones repaired stations, weapons recalibrated, shields reinforced. Nothing was left to chance. Humanity's endurance, honed in the crucible of deathworlds and cosmic adversity, had become a force the galaxy could neither predict nor resist. The alien commanders realized too late that they were no longer hunters, they were prey. The void itself seemed to obey human intent, bending under their will, guiding attacks, and asserting control over every inch of space. For all who witnessed it, one truth became undeniable: humanity had survived extinction, endured worlds meant to destroy them, and returned as a species that commanded inevitability itself. The battlefield had transformed from chaos into a meticulously controlled symphony of destruction and precision. Debris floated through the void, shards of alien hulls spinning slowly, punctuated by glimmers of energy arcs that danced like electric fire across the darkness. Humanity's fleet moved with a rhythm that seemed almost alive, every ship maintaining position with deliberate accuracy. The void itself responded, bending subtly to the coordinated flow of engines, shields, and weapon systems. Commander Hale stood at the bridge's observation deck, calm, deliberate, and unflinching. Holographic tactical displays projected enemy vectors, fleet formations, and environmental hazards in perfect clarity. Crew members moved in perfect harmony, each aware not only of their own responsibilities but of the fleet as a whole. Intelligence, experience, and instinct merged seamlessly, producing maneuvers that no enemy could anticipate. Humanity did not merely fight, they dictated the battlefield itself. Orbital construction stations hummed to life, releasing partially completed dreadnoughts and support vessels. Swarms of drones clung to hulls, welding, calibrating, and activating energy cores mid-space. Even incomplete vessels radiated authority and lethal purpose. The aliens had anticipated easy prey. Instead, they encountered masters of the void, architects of Deathworld survival, and orchestrators of inevitability. Bombers surged through fractured enemy lines, releasing torpedoes with flawless timing. While interceptors wove between plasma arcs, disabling key systems with surgical precision. Dreadnoughts unleashed synchronized volleys, tearing through shields and engines alike, leaving entire formations crippled in their wake. Every strike, every sequence, reinforced one truth: humanity did not strike recklessly, they enforced absolute inevitability. Refugee arcships floated safely within the fleet's protective formation, silent witnesses to the spectacle of human mastery. They had called for aid, expecting defense or sanctuary. Instead, they saw the enforcement of survival itself. Every vessel, every shield, every calculated maneuver whispered an unshakable truth: humanity could not be resisted. Underestimated, or defeated, the alien fleet, now scattered and desperate, attempted flanking maneuvers and concentrated volleys, yet each move was anticipated, each strategy dismantled before execution. Fear replaced arrogance, and confusion overtook certainty. The void, once indifferent, now reflected human intent, every pulse of energy and maneuver bending to their will. Even in rare moments of calm, the fleet maintained absolute vigilance. Drones repaired, weapons recalibrated, shields reinforced. The fleet's orchestration demonstrated that humanity's endurance, honed on deathworlds and through centuries of adversity, had been transmuted into a force the galaxy could neither ignore nor resist. The portal ruins, silent and ancient, glimmered faintly under the starlight, a silent witness to prophecy fulfilled. Humanity had returned, not as a fleeting legend but as an unstoppable, methodical, and deliberate force. The stars reflected across shields and hulls, illuminating vessels poised for any threat, and the galaxy understood one immutable truth: humanity's return was certainty, their power absolute, and their resolve unbreakable. The alien remnants scattered across the void, their formations broken, their morale shattered. The human fleet advanced with quiet authority, engines humming in perfect unison, shields glowing with controlled intensity. There was no celebration, only the calm, unshakable assertion that survival had been enforced, that every calculation, every strike, and every maneuver left nothing to chance. Orbital drones swarmed over stations and warships, repairing hull breaches, recalibrating weapons, and reinforcing shields. Even the smallest vessel contributed to the fleet's unity, each crew member aware that humanity's survival was not just a legacy, it was a responsibility. Every ship radiated intelligence, precision, and purpose. This was not the display of mere force, it was a testament to foresight, experience, and moral resolve. Refugee arcships drifted silently within the fleet's protective perimeter. Their passengers, once desperate and fearful, now watched humanity with awe. They had called for help expecting protection, and received orchestration. Humanity did not merely shield, it enforced order, transformed vulnerability into strength, and turned desperation into opportunity. Each vessel, each weapon system, each calculated movement conveyed one truth: humanity was inevitable. Bombers streaked across shattered enemy formations, releasing torpedoes with precise timing. Interceptors danced through arcs of plasma and energy debris, disabling engines, weapons, and shields with uncanny accuracy. Dreadnoughts launched synchronized volleys, annihilating what remained of enemy coordination. Each strike, each counter, each defensive maneuver reinforced a singular message: humanity was not reckless, they enforced inevitability. Alien commanders recognized, too late, that they were no longer dictating the flow of battle. Every countermeasure they devised had already been anticipated, every strategic position outmaneuvered. Chaos became order, desperation became calculation. Even the void seemed to bend to the rhythm of human intent, shaping energy flows, guiding fleet movement, and asserting dominance over every inch of space. Orbital construction platforms released new dreadnoughts mid-battle, drones welding hulls and activating energy cores with flawless timing. Even incomplete vessels radiated authority, a testament to human ingenuity and relentless adaptability. The aliens had expected prey, they encountered masters. Strategists and survivors shaped by deathworlds, cosmic storms, and centuries of adversity, Commander Hale observed the battlefield from the flagship's bridge, calm and resolute. Crew moved in perfect harmony, each aware that their actions contributed to a grand design that extended beyond the immediate conflict. Victory was not measured in destruction alone, it was measured in foresight, precision, and the assertion of human will. Stars glittered across hulls and energy arcs, reflecting in shields and on plasma beams. Alien forces attempted to regroup, to flee, to survive, but every maneuver had been anticipated. Humanity's return was not a fluke, it was the calculated execution of experience, intelligence, and unyielding resolve. The galaxy watched and understood: to face humanity was to face inevitability itself, and even in the aftermath of destruction, the fleet maintained formation, engines pulsing with quiet authority, shields humming with vigilance. Humanity had not merely survived, they had returned as a force that demanded respect, awe, and acknowledgement. The void had grown still, but not in peace. Silence stretched across the battlefield, punctuated only by the rhythmic hum of human engines and the quiet pulses of shields across the fleet. Alien remnants drifted aimlessly, broken and defeated, their formations shattered and their morale in tatters. Humanity had not merely survived the assault, they had orchestrated dominance, enforced survival, and reshaped the very fabric of the conflict. Commander Hale moved deliberately across the flagship's bridge, his gaze steady as holographic tactical displays illuminated enemy remnants, fleet formations, and orbital stations. Each crew member acted with practiced precision, each maneuver synchronized across light years. The fleet had become more than ships and weaponry, it was an extension of human intelligence, a network of strategy and instinct, alive with the purpose of protection and inevitability. Drones swarmed across battered hulls, repairing, recalibrating, and activating energy cores mid-space. Partially constructed dreadnoughts completed their systems, joining the fleet seamlessly, demonstrating humanity's unending ingenuity. The aliens had expected prey. They faced masters of survival, orchestrators of inevitability, and architects of a force the galaxy had long forgotten. Bombers and interceptors continued drills among the wreckage, each movement precise, each strike calculated. Dreadnoughts unleashed volleys into the void, neutralizing lingering threats and asserting dominance across every quadrant of the battlefield. There was no chaos, only the orchestration of strategy, foresight, and unshakable will. Humanity did not merely fight, they enforced their existence. The refugee arc ships drifted safely behind the fleet, protected by shields and human vigilance. Passengers watched silently, witnessing not only survival but mastery. Humanity had turned fear into clarity, vulnerability into strength, and chaos into absolute control. Every ship, every shield, Every calculated movement was a testament to centuries of adaptation, endurance, and intelligence forged on Deathworlds and through cosmic trials. The alien commanders, far beyond immediate reach, finally understood the magnitude of their miscalculation. They had assumed humanity extinct, their absence a certainty, their survival impossible. They had been wrong. Humanity had returned not as a fragile remnant but as arbiters of inevitability, masters of the void, and protectors of all they chose to safeguard. The stars reflected across hulls and energy arcs, illuminating the fleet's immaculate formation. Engines pulsed in synchronized rhythm, weapons systems calibrated, drones maintaining vigilance. Humanity's presence was absolute, deliberate, and commanding. Every pulse of energy, every maneuver, every strike whispered one truth: the galaxy could not resist humanity, and it would never forget their return. The portal ruins on the desolate world glimmered faintly, silent witnesses to prophecy fulfilled. Humanity had answered the call of the cosmos, arriving as both guardians and arbiters. The alien fleets had been defeated, scattered, and humiliated. The void itself bore witness to human mastery. Intelligence, an unyielding will, even as quiet returned, the fleet maintained formation, vigilant, prepared, and eternal. Humanity's legacy was not in the ships alone, nor the shields, nor the weapons. It was in the intelligence, the moral depth, the unbreakable will, and the ability to rise from extinction into dominance. Every star, every pulse of energy, every glimmer across the void testified, humanity endured, and as Commander Hale gazed at the distant ruins of the portal, he allowed himself a rare, measured smile. The galaxy would remember this day. Humanity had returned, not as a rumor, not as a legend, but as the unavoidable truth of the cosmos.